Hello and welcome back to my Christian 75 Hard. This is week 5. I'm halfway through 75 Hard. I'm super excited. I'm going to put up on the screen my personal rules that I've been doing for my Christian 75 Hard. It's a beautiful morning, 61 degrees. It's a great day for a walk. Day 34 of 75 Hard. You guys, you will not believe what just happened to me. That couple that has the garden that I've stopped to talk to before, they gave me fresh raspberries. They taste so good. Oh my gosh, I can smell them right now. They taste amazing. They taste so good. I'm gonna eat all of these before the kids come home. See, service really does pay. Day 37, 75 Hard. I'm on my walk. It's about noon and it's a little hot, but this is about the only time I could fit it in on a Saturday. So been enjoying my walk. One of the things that I have been thinking about is that going on these walks and also my meditating every day, I feel like there's 2 times in my day where I'm forced to slow down and have some like peace and quiet. And it's been really cool. I've been really grateful for it. It's made my life better to have 2 set times every single day where I know I'm gonna have calm and I'm gonna be able to just be peaceful and clear my head. So yeah, good walk today. This week I've been reading Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. I just finished Little House on the Prairie, and so this was one I checked out at the library. It's really interesting. It's kind of a mix between Anne of Green Gables and Pollyanna, but yeah, I'm really just at the very beginning of the book, but so far I am liking it. Why do service? It can kind of seem like because I have it as part of this challenge that it's just something that I want to check off during my day, but that's really not what this is about as far as being part of the challenge. I'm not trying to just check something off a list, and I don't feel like I'm going to be saved by doing good works or something like that. I know that Jesus is the only one who saves us, and I want to show how much I love him by how I treat other people. I'm trying to become more like him. In my phone, in my habit tracking app, where I have service as one of the things I need to do, what I actually have it named is others centered. So basically I'm trying to help myself realize that the world is about other people and it's not about myself, to try and challenge myself to remove some of that selfishness by having it be a daily thing that I have to think about every single day. And so that's why I have it as part of my challenge, is to help me realize and look outside of myself, have that practice every single day so that I can make it a part of who I am, so I can become more like my Savior, Jesus Christ. The theme for my service this week would definitely be consistency. I've ended up doing a lot of the things that I've already done in the past, but that doesn't bother me because I was thinking about a quote that I read several years ago by a woman. Her name is Lisa Jo Baker, and this is what she says. "Quit trying to change the world. Instead, do the far harder work of loving just a few people just as messy as you, consistently for decades." And I really love that because I feel like a lot of times we think that we need to go out and do these big, grand gestures to make a difference in the world, when really it's about loving people every single day, the same people over and over again. That's really going to make a big difference in the world. So here's some of the things that I did this week. I have noticed that one of my children keeps coming up. One thing I thought is, this is something that personally I really need to get better at, and the Lord is helping me. And especially when it's a person that you need to improve how you're doing things with, I think it's cool that the Lord would inspire you to help them day after day after day so that you can improve. Because if he gives you a different person every day, it's going to be harder to get better at that one relationship and focus on that one relationship if every single day he's giving you something different to do. So there's this one child of mine that I get very often, and I've been so grateful for it because it has been changing my behavior and helping me be less selfish in this regard. So this one child, I put some of my kids to bed. My youngest, I put her to bed. And then the older ones, I kind of let them do their own thing, after we've had our family prayer. But I had this inspiration that I should read a book to my boys as they go to bed. And normally what they do is they'll listen to a book when they go to bed and kind of help them settle down and fall asleep. But I had the revelation that I should go in and read a book after I had settled my daughter down. And I was really grateful. My boys seemed to really enjoy it, and they were listening just on the edge of their seats. And it's a really special time. I used to do it when they were younger, and I just loved having another connection point with my boys before they went to bed. The next day, my husband was working from home, and sometimes when my husband is working from home, I'm also busy, right? I've got things that I need to get done, and so I do try to coordinate it so we can have lunch and different things together, but we weren't able to make it work the first time he worked from home, and then I had this revelation that I should really focus on my husband that day. And so I just said, you know what, whatever his schedule is, I'm going to make sure that I can make it so we can have some time together at lunchtime. And I asked him what he wanted for lunch, and it wasn't something I particularly wanted for lunch. But I just thought, this is important, that I want to make sure that my husband feels loved. And I went out of my way to make sure that he had lunch, and it was something he enjoyed. And I was grateful I had a chance to do that. The next day, I went on a walk with a friend. But this time we went with another friend. So when I first moved to Kokomo, there were 4 stay-at-home moms, and we used to always get together and have a play group when our kids were little. And as our kids have grown, our schedules have changed, and 2 of my friends now work full-time. And so it's more difficult to get together with them because we used to get together during the day. And so I texted this friend, one of my friends works from home, and I said, hey, can we come? I know on your lunch break you go on your walk your dog. Can we come and go on your walk with you? And she said, yeah, I would love that. So me and my other friend that we usually walk together, we went over there and went with her. She only had about 30 minutes to walk with us, but it was so fun. And she was really grateful that we were able to spend time together. And I was glad that I had gone out of my way to do that, because she lives 30 minutes from me, so it's a little bit of a drive. But it was really meaningful, and I hope we can do that some more, because especially when you work from home, it can be really isolating, really lonely. So I was glad we were able to do that. And then the next day was a day that I am watching someone's kids. So I talked about in a previous video my ministering sister. So in our church, we have a program where you're connected with another member of the congregation, somebody of the same gender, that you kind of connect with them and check in with them and see kind of what their needs are and how you can help. And so this sister, she has a son who is in speech therapy, and she has other younger kids. She asked me one day to watch her little boys, and then I found out that it was going to be weekly, and I said, can I watch him every week? And she said, yeah, that would really help me. And so I was really grateful that I'm going to be able to help her every single week. On Saturday, I went on a date with one of my kids, and this turn was one of my sons. And one of the things that he loves is candy shops. And so when I had gone out with one of my girls for a different day, we had found that in our Five Below, they have a really cool candy section with all kinds of different candies. And so I had told him about it, and he said, when it's my turn, that's where I want to go. And so we went there, and he was just so excited to see all the candy. I'll have to try and put a picture up of him at the candy store. He was really, really loving it. And then he also wanted to go and look at some Halloween decorations. And I've mentioned before that we're on a budget, so sometimes decorating stuff I just am not really in the market for. But, we were at Five Below, so it was really cheap. We were able to get some. And I don't know, just when we were looking at the decorating stuff, I just had this wave come over me of how fun this was and how much I enjoyed doing this with him. And I'm so grateful that I've been taking this time to spend time with my kids one-on-one, because it helps our relationship, and I hope it helps them feel loved as well. Another thing I did was I said happy birthday to an old friend on Facebook. I don't know if you guys do that very regularly. I noticed when it was my birthday over the summer that there were a couple people on there that I have not talked to in years that consistently wished me a happy birthday or wished me a happy birthday this year. And I was just thinking how special that is, because as you get older, your circles kind of feels like get smaller because you just see kind of the same people every day. And so it was kind of fun to be like, wow, remember when I knew this person? And it just makes you grateful that somebody that you knew a long time ago and loved took the time to say happy birthday to you. And so I wanted to give that back to somebody else that I hadn't talked to in a really long time, who had meant a lot to me. And so I wished them a happy birthday on Facebook. Since I was out that day with my son, just at the store and everything, there was somebody I saw who I thought their hair looked really cool. And so my son and I went up to her and said, hey, we just love your hair. And I know that has happened to me before, where a stranger will give you a compliment, and sometimes it can make your day, where you just kind of smile and brighten up. And I was grateful I could do that as well. And that evening, we had an activity at the church, and there was a young mother there that brought her baby. And I was able to hold her baby most of the time so she could eat dinner, so she could talk to people, so she could do the things that she could do. I know I've been in that situation a lot of times when I was a young mother, where it was so difficult to eat and having to wait and trying to keep your kid contained and stuff. And I was just grateful that I'm out of that stage and I could help by holding her baby while she was at that activity. Then on Sunday, that new family that had moved into our congregation was there again. And the revelation I'd received that morning was that I should make time to also talk to that family. And it again goes back to this consistency that I was talking about, right? That it's so important to make sure that people feel loved and that they are getting consistent action from you. Because just because you help somebody once doesn't mean that their needs magically go away. And they need support and help. And so I talked to her again. And one of the things that I felt like the Lord brought to my mind, she was telling me how grateful she was that I had gotten her number and connected her with the playgroup, because she was able to go to it. And the Lord told me, sometimes it's important to allow other people to thank you for what you've done. It's important to them, so they feel like you know how much it meant to them and how much they appreciated it. And so you should allow people the opportunity to say thank you to you and seek them out just so they can have that opportunity. It was really cool to think about that. Also, while we were there was somebody there who hadn't come to church in a long time, and I was able to give her a hug and talk to her. And it was really interesting because, I've been doing this one act of service a day, which I'm grateful for, but it's been kind of interesting as time has progressed to see that I'm starting to, the wheels are starting to turn in my head, so that some days I end up doing more than one and noticing that I'm doing more than one, because my mind is starting to go that way automatically. And it's really helpful to have this mindset of others centered, because just naturally these ideas start popping into my head. And another thing that's been cool is, as I pray in the morning, sometimes I already know what it's going to be, just because I'm in that mindset and I'm not really waiting for some mysterious thing to happen. I know that there's an opportunity already in that day for me to show some love to somebody and be kind to somebody. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of consistent service and serving the same people day in and day out, and how powerful it is. I got my education in public administration. So my master's is an MPA, and a lot of the kids that I went to in my master's program were focused on nonprofits, and my focus also was on nonprofits. And it's really interesting when you learn about how to be better at serving. And a lot of my classmates had these grand ideas of different nonprofits they wanted to start that were, out in a third world country or feeding the hungry and all of these things, which is very noble and amazing. Those are really great things. But one of the things that we learned about in class was how important it is to serve those right in your community, the people right in front of you. And there's this quote from Mother Teresa. She says, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And that is so powerful. I've also heard it said, go home and do the dishes. If you want to change the world, go home and do the dishes. Just how powerful it is to love the people who are right in front of you, to give them of yourself every day, constantly, rather than just one big giant trip, one humanitarian trip where you kind of go and change the world. Just think about how much service you can give in your day-to-day life, and it doesn't have to be outside of your home even. And it takes commitment, and it takes dedication, and it's going to leave a lasting impact. You think about the people that you serve day in and day out, how that's going to change you and that's going to change that person to feel the Savior's love really deeply, because that's how much the Savior loves us. Is he doesn't just come one day and, give us what we want and then leave and then come back another time. Every single day, he's giving us consistent love and showing us kindness, and that's what draws us close to him. And so when we're able to perform that same kind of service to other people, it also helps them realize, wow, I have a loving Savior who wants me and wants to be near to me, and it can kind of spread that love to everyone else that they encounter because of your example. Have you been able to show them the love of Jesus Christ? So that's my message for this week. And later this week, I'm going to be back. I'm actually going to make a video explaining why I picked the things I did for my Christian 75 Hard. And then I will also have a video next week about my next week of 75 Hard. So